Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Kopitiam Council. So, we've already talked about things international that's going on in the Middle East, in America. And usually, if you've come to know us, the format would demand that we go back to Malaysia or Sabah. But today, it's more about Malaysia because we have been seeing a scandal that is very big. So, to say the least, something that has gripped the nation with shock, horror, and kind of questions the whether or not we're doing enough to protect vulnerable communities, especially children in Malaysia, from predatory behavior, especially from people who are in power. Of course, we're talking about the recent scandal regarding Global Ikhwan Holdings Dirian Berhad, GISB. So it's almost every day we are hearing news about this, right, Hafiz? We've heard scandals about kids being sexually exploited or abused in some of these welfare homes set up by GISP that was supposed to take them in and take care of them and provide them shelter and all that kind of stuff, especially even elderly communities as well, to provide them shelter, aid and care as well. But to see them reports of these people being exploited, not sexually, and being abused, not just an isolated case, but a few hundreds of children, people have been reported to be subjected to this kind of horrible treatment and horrible. It's just downright shocking and sickening to hear, especially when we consider that GISB is a big company with performances that has resulted in millions of ringgits of profit. This is a very big organization. So, where do we start from here, Hafiz?
I think let's run through some figures. I think Ade, you mentioned about how big GISBH is. Global Ikhwan Services and Business Holdings is that they have a total asset around 330 million. I think that's in ringgit, and they have a presence in almost 22 countries. Ade. And they have branches in London and Paris as well. So it shows that their network is not small. They have presence anyway, including neighboring country like Thailand as well. So in terms of that, in terms of their business side, in terms of what police captured as well, 402 children were rescued from some of them allegedly been sodomized as well. So these are the child abuse, sexual abuse towards children, and also few key top leaderships were also detained recently. But some of them got into bail, especially the Al-Arkam, ex-Al-Arkam chief. Three of his children were posted on bail for 1,000 ringgit for that, and some of them are tried to escape to Thailand as well using a very fancy motorcade. So motorhome. So that's, I think, very funny. They try to cross the border, but actually doing it, in style. Like, I'm not gonna go into like some dirty lorry and hide myself underneath it. Nope. I'm gonna go with my big Ford American mobile motorhome, and I think I'm gonna go through the immigration. So what were they were thinking? They were already committed a lot of crime, and it's just heinous crime, and then they think they can get away with in their luxury vehicle. Absolutely, heinous crime. But I don't want to bore our listeners, Adi, with the details. I'm sure people can check the media, the news outlet with that. But I have three things that as a lesson from this GISB scandal. So number one, I think when the news broke out, when the Inspector General Tan Sri mentioned that Ops Global was underway, and they found out about this. Where I was looking around, like, where all these Islamic NGOs, where were their leaders? Where is Isma? Where is Akmal? With his notorious video of threatening other people. Do you still remember Kekemat incident? What did he say about Kekemat incident? He would threaten the owner of this boycott right away. Where is his boycott of GISB businesses? I'm sure some of their businesses outlet still in operational, because only, I think so far, only few states like Perlis, Perak, and I think Terengganu, the Mufti fatwas them as a deviant. But in other states, Kelantan Mufti says this said no, it's not necessary at the moment to produce such fatwa. This is a Mufti of Kelantan saying this. So where is this pahlawan Melayu, ketuanan Melayu? Where are they? These are the Malay Muslim children. 402 of them were sexual abuse by this so-called demons, would say. I would go to that far, calling them out as demons. So, because who would do this to innocent kids? Second of all, where is Jakim in terms of their, strictness with certain issues, especially like recently the halal issue, right? They mentioned about certain MPs were making some announcement, and then they would come up with very stern warning not to implicate this thing even more further. But when it comes to GISB, Jakim is one of the slowest part of authority to come up and say this is something shocking. So where Jakim needs a huge reform, if you ask me, with people always say that, hey, Jakim have what 1 or 2 billion budget every year, and all they do is produce as halal certificate. That's nonsense. So this is Islamic affair, and this is right up their alley. Why there is a delay in terms of taking actions. So that's number 2. So we should look into who actually had leading Jakim, and reform should be done, especially by the religious affair minister YB Naim. Thirdly, Adi, this is my last point that I want to highlight from all this GSB scandal, is that it's highlighted our own hypocrisy on statelessness. So some of these kids that were rescued, they did not actually have a proper documentation because of the so-called mutlak marriage, I think. So it was not a properly documented marriage. So some of these kids don't actually have birth certificates, whatnot, so considered as stateless. So when police try to identify them, it's a dead end for the police to actually to collect more intel. So this is biting us in the ass, that we should actually reform our laws to help not just them, but many other statelessness, especially in Sabah. A lot of statelessness kids in Semporna recently. Comrade actually making news about it in Semenanjung as well. There's a lot of statelessness. So this is also a wake-up call for us to reform our law regarding citizenship and statelessness. So this is under Minister Saifuddin to actually look at this and actually put an end to this and make it right again. So these are the 3 things that I want to highlight from GISBH scandal.
Yeah, I think just a quick note on your last point on citizenship. Parliament would be convening on this topic very soon to amend the citizenship bill. And I'm sorry to burst a bit of your bubble, Haffiz, but I think it's going to turn, the results would not be favorable to these kids, sadly. But that's another topic, I think, is for another day. But I feel moving with this. You want to say something, please? Sorry.
I think I'm just going to say it, like it's not too late,
It's not too late. Yeah. Hopefully, someone can be brave enough to challenge this amendment so that it can be more holistic, especially since Sabah has a lot of stateless children as well. But that's besides the point, going off tangent. But when it comes to this GISBH, right, like you said, they're deviants. They are it is the business evolution of the Arkam movement. And I think if people aren't familiar, they make Ayapin's Kerajaan Langit look like nothing in comparison. Makes them look like a kitten in comparison when it comes to some of the teachings that they have here. Because there's a look, when I was investigating a lot of the Al Arkam teachings and findings, a lot of it is very you would call, it's funny because it would, what the traditional Malay would call sesat, it would be very weird, unorthodox or deviant, or teachings which you find just bizarre and you would say even profane. Like there's almost a cult like element to this. And the founder of this movement, Ashari Muhammad, has written a few times saying that if you want to meet the Prophet and his companions, you can do so in the physical world, which is, we know that is not exactly. That's almost shirik in a way. It is frowned upon to these kinds of practices. Of course, I can understand that there's a Sufi undertone to it, but that I feel just crosses the line. And to have this leader be seen and revered as almost like a messianic figure, have messianic responsibilities, almost like a Mahdi kind of character. That's also frowned upon. But like you said, where are all these religiously charged individuals like Akmal, who was willing to take up defense of the faith immediately when it comes to KK Mat? But when it comes to something like this, where kids are being sodomized, being abused, there's complete silence. Of course, we thank the government for its swift action. But of course, this is an organization that has roots in a sect, a religious sect of Islam, using the religion as a as a excuse for a lot of the things that they do. Where, like you said, the fatwa issued on this, like we've even seen past members saying that, oh, we don't interfere or compromise the business dealings of GISBH. No, this is something that we need to throw the full weight of the law upon, with the full investigation to see how deep this thing goes, because every day we are hearing something new about this development. And what else do we not even know? All kinds of other heinous atrocities that are being committed by these groups, by these in these welfare homes. Like, who is actually having any oversight over these things? Or how is it that it took so long? Because GISBH was founded quite a while ago, and Al Akam beliefs and Shari Muhammad's founding of all these ideas can be traced back to the 70s. So it's been these ideas have been around for at least 50 years, half a century. So of course it was seen by the authorities, and the leader was, I think, detained under ISA. But the fact that there is this cult-like element that has precipitated so deeply that it has created a business conglomerate to becoming a business entity that performs so well to be so profitable. It can almost match a lot of the middle level GLCs in Malaysia. So to have it go this far, the guardians at the gate, we have to question, where were they in the first place? Or are we in a system that has completely failed to understand or even address cult-like behavior such as this? Of course, this is exactly what when you look at cult-like behavior, and you say, oh, they're harmless. It's just like, when Ayapin, what happened with Ayapin, that was, oh, it was harmless. But we see that there's a huge tangible harm that has been given to these people. If you look at cults in other countries, like in America, where there's always kinds of cults being developed by one saying that they're like the savior or the messiah or something like that. It always starts like that. People say that they're crazy, they're a bit weird, but it's okay, they're harm. But then you have events like Waco or something like that. Do we have to get that far in Malaysia to this? I mean, to get to that kind of a situation? No, we have to. I mean, it's because it's disgusting, to be honest. It's abhorrent, and it needs to be fully investigated and fully fully enforced. The protection of children, protection of vulnerable groups, and to monitor these kinds of dangerous ideas that has been floating around, that goes against a lot of social decency, not even religious decencies, but social decencies at its basis, and gives us a bad Malaysia a bad name, said that we allow these things to happen for so long. So it's more just like for me a rantler of how is it that we've come to this point and how we've led. But hopefully we can trust the authorities and the powers that be to resolve these kinds of issues and for justice to be served regarding this whole GISBH debacle.
Yeah, you were talking about how we can come to this point. I think it goes back to the fact that we allow these kind of establishments set up under the purview of vernacular school. I think because religious school is under that as well. I think. And I think monitoring of their syllabus, what they're doing, they're actually teaching up to standard. And is it like you mentioned, right? Like you know, uh, this GISBH was only come to limelight because of criminal offences. If there was no criminal offences, JAKIM or any religious authority, including the state's religious authority, could not detect it, could not bring them to the court, because no one knows actually how they operate in terms of what they're teaching, books, the syllabus that they have. There's also news that some of them trying to bury some of these teachings and books next to their premise. So I think it's already obvious here that we need to overhaul also the education system, might as well, right? Because it involves all these religious schools that we don't know, set up by some ustas. It could be very very innocent at it's a start, and then one small schools try to become a welfare house as well, and then next thing you know, this kind of thing happen. Also, I think years ago, 2-3 years ago, there were religious welfare home as well, that caught on fire, and this was not registered under the religious authority, and of course there would not be any checks on their safety measure on the premise that they have. It's obviously a substandard premise that not fit for 100 or 200 peoples. So this is something that we should worry about, in terms of how we are moving forward, as Malaysia now is very what do you so called on the momentum of achieving AI chips, becoming having that market share, and wants to leapfrog other countries in terms of technologies. But yet on the other side of this, Malaysia have still struggling with this. Like you mentioned, it's not new. It's already happened since in the 70s, 80s. They got disbanded, and then they changed their form or name, now become Global Equan, but they're still doing the same thing. So something overhaul needs to be done in terms of education overhaul here, and just to say the least, about every day, we, like you mentioned, every day we found new things about this scandal as it develops, and it's scary what could be the end of it. Like like I mentioned, like maybe some of these top authorities or political leaders as well are complicit in this. That's why they were so well protected before, and only now we know about this. They how on earth they can be in operation in every in every states in 20 countries, and no one call them out like this. So they must have some kind of protection from the higher political leader as well. So it's staggering to know. And then moving forward, there should be law to be amended to this. I mean, a lesson learned from this. If in the end of the day all that they had was just like some members got to jail, top leaders got to jail, and then maybe some of them serve few years of jail time, they're gonna come out and do this again as a villain. And if we no concrete measure taken into this, I'm afraid for our future, for the young ones especially.
Yeah, I think moving forward, then first we have to look into how far these things have gone with Global Econ, because like you said, they have operations all over the world. They have like restaurants, catering and all that all across the world, and other kinds of places where they help, apparently help children. Usually, this is where members of Global Econ, or parents who work there, would drop their kids off there to be taken care of, and then all these kinds of things happen. I think it's there's nothing much to explain here. I think if we were so adamant to boycott things in the name of Muslim solidarity, I think it should be the same with Global Econ. I think we should take a stand and boycott this GISB, because it is a very harmful organization that has proven that willing to have all this oversight and not care about the people that it is taking care of, which is the very important component in our country, which is young people, which is children. Some not even 1 years old would have you hear reports of being sexually abused. So that completely goes against any kind of faith, I believe. And I think if we were so enthusiastic about boycotting this, boycotting that, I think if anything, this company should be boycotted until justice is fully served, and whatever kind of rebranding that they can do to fix this situation. Ironically, Global Econ was used as a rebranding when Al Arkam was under hot fire, justifiably so. So in a way, this it never really changed. It's still being allowed to happen. So being wary of choices as well. Like people talk about boycott being like a responsibility to Muslim solidarity. So I'm going to turn that idea around as well and say that okay, then we need to be responsible for each other and call out all these kinds of practices that is detrimental to the Muslim community, not just in Malaysia, but to the Muslim community at large, saying that, oh, because if not, it would look like it's being sanctioned, it's being allowed. And with I think it's going to be riled up to be used as a political tool moving forward. Uh, if anyone, I think, crazy enough to say that, oh well, this is a solidarity for Muslims, so we have to stand with Global Econ because they are in a way still Muslims. So I can imagine somebody actually saying that online somewhere on Facebook. I just hope that it's not going to be a widely accepted belief for a lot of people, especially when coming into any political elections. I think it can be utilized as political leverage as well, or mileage as well. So worried to see that happening. But yeah, very sad situation, and I hope it will be resolved eventually very soon.
Yeah, in fact, a few politicians and few NGO leaders actually, Adi, said those things. And yeah, your fear is actually a reality. Some of them defended GISBH, and they say this is something, they were very relaxed about it. That's what's worrying about it. Like, these are not accusations by Anwar Ibrahim, by any politicians. This is a fact, an Operation Ops Global by the Royal Police, you know. So you think a police just made a press conference so that they think this is, they think there might be, it's an actual proof by police, so press conference was called. That's why. So all this nonsense that saying that, oh, this is, they try to demonize USB because they're very successful in Islam. So I'm still yet to hear someone blaming DAP though. So I'm sure in a few days someone gonna, oh, these are just DAP propaganda, try to divide and conquer Muslims community. We should rally behind JSB so that we are united. I'm sure
If that's the
nutcase gonna say
case,
that.
if DAPs can be able to do all that to divide, right? Then I wouldn't be. Why won't? Why it's surprising why they haven't won becoming a prime minister yet.
exactly, right? So these are uh, non ironic things that's happening in Malaysia. For those who are listening in Sabah, there is a GISB branches in Semulan area, Semulan Square. So if you go to that area, just don't patronize one of their branches, all right? I think that's it for GSBH holding scandals. There's a lot of things happening as well. Recently, Malaysia signed a transatlantic agreement, but I think we're going to talk about that next time, so not on this episode. So please, if you think you like this, what we're talking about, please share and comment, like this video, share to your friends and family, and please comment down below if you have other topics that you would like us to cover. If you prefer long format, you can watch us here on Spotify and YouTube. But if you prefer short format, where should they go to, Adi?
They can go through our Instagram and our TikTok pages where we post our short form content, where we cut up our episodes. In case you just need to happen to be doom scrolling, might as well be doom scrolling on Kopitiam Council.
Yeah, so that's our last message for all of you. And also, yeah, we just recently reached 1,000 subscribers. I know this is something very small for most YouTubers, but not for Kopitiam Council. So we, ever so grateful to all of you who clicked that subscribe button. Thank you so much. Next up, 5K in a few months. I hope so.
Let's hope so. Thank you, everyone, for helping us reach 1,000 subscribers. Me and Haffisz didn't think that we'd be able to get it. I mean, so soon, to be honest. We are very helpful and grateful for your support. And like Haffisz says, next milestone, probably 5K. Let's see how long that'll take.
Yep. With that, goodbye for now.